that's the thing about your mentor is he went so long without having quality of life that now that's his 100. That's the hard thing, is that's why you usually overpour the cup that has been the lowest for so long in order to get you where you're going.
If you want to be 1 out of 100, top 1% in health, wealth, life, and love, you're 1 in 10 million. So you're 1 in 10 million if you can do. 1 in 100 million. You're 1 in 100 million. And that's why it's so hard to be holistic.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another episode of Next Level University, where we help you level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. Today, for episode number 1803, it's Freestyle Friday. So we have talked about this before, Alan, but I feel like there's a new wrinkle in an understanding that we had before. I was on with a wonderful human today. Shout out to Josh. I did a podcast breakthrough session with him. A young, ambitious human, just trying to get after it in life. And obviously we've taken very similar paths in the world and in life, because he's going to school to get a physics degree. And that is something that I also did not do. I didn't really do that, no. I was talking to him about sustainability, consistency, and improvement is what I was talking to him about today. And there was a moment where he said, how do I do something in one bucket of sustainability, but in the other bucket of growth or improvement? So just for the NLU community who may not have heard that, anytime you're doing something new, you have to start from a place of sustainability. So we'll use podcasting as an example because it's just the easiest one. I want somebody to start with what is sustainable for them. Is it 1 episode a week? Is it 1 episode every other week? Is it 1 episode a month? Cool. What is the technology that's sustainable for you? Is it solo episodes? Is it guest episodes? Awesome. Cool. What is sustainable for you? All right. Then when it goes from a place of sustainability where you know you can do it, then we have to focus on, let's do it consistently. Let's make sure whatever we're doing consistently. Cool. We know what's sustainable. Now let's do it consistently. Then as we do something consistently enough, we want to make sure we're improving every time we can. But it's very hard to improve something that you don't know if it's sustainable yet. And the analogy I used with this young man today was, it's almost like around New Year's, people say, I'm going to start going to the gym, and then they go buy new clothes, new water bottles, new pre-workout, new headphones, and then they figure out, oh my goodness, I burnt myself out trying to go to the gym 5 times a week. I have all this nice stuff, but I didn't do the sustainable thing first. So we were talking about podcasting, and he said, what's sustainable there? And we had a conversation. And then I said, okay, now let's talk about social media, because you also have to do something sustainable on social media. What is sustainable for you? And I think it makes sense why a lot of us might feel stuck, because you might be in fitness starting to do something that's sustainable. And in your relationship, you might be doing something that is focused on improvement because it's already sustainable, it's already consistent, and now you're improving. And then in finance, it might be either end of the spectrum. You might be way ahead or way behind. And I understand why it's so hard. So I thought it might be an interesting conversation to talk about that, because if you're not starting from a place of sustainability, it doesn't matter how much you can improve, because you might not be doing it long enough. And yeah, that's my thought. That was my thought from the call I had with this gentleman.
Those are 3 very, very important things. I was on with a potential client earlier, and they had never yet promoted their podcast on social media. And I said, okay, well, we created this little sort of business model, and it was social media leads to the podcast leads to a free virtual workshop, and the virtual workshop leads to a paid workshop. And they do leadership trainings. And I said, let's do green, yellow, red. I try to keep it as simple as possible. Okay, the podcast you've been doing for a long time, and it's sustainable, and you've been consistent, and it's been improving. That's great. So that's green. Green check. The workshops, you've done 3 of them, so that's yellow. It's kind of rolling, but it's not consistent. So it's sustainable, but it's not consistent. And then there was 2 red X's. The red X was the paid workshops and the social media. And I said, there's two kinks in your hose, so to speak. So what we have to do is keep the green and the yellow, and we have to work on the reds. And so I said, okay, the next step is let's break down social media. Okay, what's the platform that you think your target demographic is on most? And they said LinkedIn. I said, I agree. Awesome. Okay, do you two each want to, because they're co-hosts, do you two each want to do your own personal accounts, or do you want to create an account for the business? And I said, I recommend personal accounts. As you know, Kev, you and I both have our own personal accounts. We don't have an NLU account.
Right.
I think personal brand is the future. That's my truth. And I'm glad that we did that because I'm business coach, you're podcast coach, so it's actually working out really well. But ultimately they said, okay, personal. I said, awesome. Okay, so each of you make a LinkedIn account and then figure out who your target demographic is, who your target listener is, and then start posting content for free on LinkedIn consistently for that demographic about the topic that you do workshops on. They said, okay. But I didn't say, okay, we're going to go do a full makeover. Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok, all these. It was just one platform, one post a day, just to get some momentum. And once that becomes sustainable, then we're going to up the ante. And I was on with a client earlier today who just got back from Israel. Shout out to you if you're listening. And she said, I'm overwhelmed. I'm struggle bus. I said, listen, you are in the phase right now. You've been coaching me for 2 months. Like, we have got to dial it back. You're about to fall off and fall off for good. I can feel it. Let's dial it back. We got to get back to basics. So your system of success, your habits, your train tracks toward whatever your goals are, it is sustainable first, then consistency, then improvement. And unfortunately, with health, wealth, and love being holistic, it's actually really difficult. I was on with a team member earlier, and she said, I feel successful holistically. I don't feel successful in any one area. And I would say it's very, 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 very difficult, almost impossible, to actually feel successful in all three simultaneously.
What would you rather? Would you rather feel successful in one or holistically? How do you feel successful holistically, but you don't feel successful in one? Just the most.
It's almost like you can sustain and be consistent in all three, but you can't really improve all three simultaneously. Mm-hmm. You can try.
Yeah.
So, for example, health, wealth, and love. Let's you and I do this breakdown real quick. Which one's the one where you're really pushing it? You're upping the ante. You're getting to the next level.
Wealth.
Nice. Same. Okay, so, and that's out of necessity. We're both doing that. But the other two are not in coast mode, but they're certainly not 10 out of 10 effort.
I mean, fitness is like 9 out of 10. I'm meal prepping every day, making rice every day.
And then your relationship is probably 8.
Yeah. I mean, they're the highest. I think they're all the highest they've ever been.
So holistically, they're the highest they've ever been, but there's always one that's more of a focus. And this is the definition of a priority too.
Yeah.
And this is the hard part about priority. The definition is, what is your most important priority? For mine, it's business coaching. That's the most important priority. Nothing on my calendar gets above that. Kev, for you, it's podcast coaching.
Yeah.
Right. And now, if something were to happen to your wife, Taryn, or something were to happen to Emilia, we'd shift priorities, and then that would be the priority. But then it would shift back to business coaching and podcast coaching, most likely. And so everyone has to kind of figure out what's the one thing, I guess, so let's do health, wealth, and love. Health. Are you sustainable in health? Okay, yes or no? Yes. Okay. Are you consistent? Yes. Okay. Are you improving? No. All right. Work on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really good. So you have health, wealth, and love, and then you have...
There's like 9 squares.
Exactly.
There's 9 squares. And if you're maxing out, it was sustainable, and now you're doing it consistently, and now you're doing it consistently with improvement, now you jump to the next bucket.
Let's do it with you. All right, health. Is it sustainable what you're doing right now?
Here's the interesting thing. No. The dieting isn't super sustainable because there's an end. But I'm doing it sustainably, so maybe that's like more of a yes. I can do it to the degree I need to do it in order to accomplish the goal, yes.
Okay, nice.
But
all right, are you consistent?
No. Yes, very.
All right, are you improving?
Yes.
Okay. Wealth. Is it sustainable?
Depends. Depends on what purchases we make.
Yeah.
What the effort putting in right now? Yes. Yes.
Okay. Is it consistent?
Yes.
Is it improving?
More than ever.
Nice. Okay. Your relationship, is it sustainable?
Yes.
Nice. Is it consistent?
I would say probably
Less than the other two, right?
I don't know. I feel like the schedule switch for me, Alan and I switched our schedules recently. It made my life dramatically better. I think it made your life dramatically worse, which I do feel bad about. I do. Not bad enough to want to go back, even though the schedule, I mean, it's still, obviously it's overwhelming. There's a lot going on.
I think my mic is like moving. I think my mic has been moving. That might be why. That honestly might be why I keep having to touch it. I think it's actually slowly like
super tight.
Gravity is taking my mic, everyone.
These mics are heavy, so it does stuff.
I have to tighten it.
I think right now, health, wealth, and love are the highest they've ever been.
Yeah.
In terms of the process, even disconnected from one another. I don't know if
That
that's
means
possible,
that you're probably the most fulfilled you've ever been.
Yeah. Nah, I don't know. I don't know if I'd say I'm the most fulfilled I've ever been. No, I'm not the most fulfilled I've ever been.
Well, that means that your quality of life is probably taking a massive hit.
My quality of life is most likely taking a hit. Yeah.
So because you're dialed in all three of these.
Because
that's one of the things.
Sorry, real quick. Maybe that's health, wealth. We didn't even say life. That's why life is in there. Because life is
a great point.
Life is everything, and quality of life, and
I never made that connection.
I didn't until this moment.
That is alarming.
Yeah, it is. Well,
That's
alarming. We knew that life was encompassing the three other things, but
yeah.
But in this moment, maybe
that's quality of life.
Maybe I'm not as fulfilled because my quality of life isn't as high as I.
That's not a maybe.
Well,
that's a definite. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think it's a piece.
Because honestly, if I say, "Is this the most fulfilled you've ever been?" you would say yes, but no, and the but no is because the quality of life is just not really there.
Yeah.
To the extent that you would like.
I would say so. Again, I get to do this full time, and we make a good amount of money doing this, and all that. It's just, but yeah, the quality of life has definitely taken a hit over the last year.
For sure, 2024 has been alarmingly difficult. Yeah, it really has been a little bit of a rough year.
And shout out to anybody else who it's been a rough year. Just keep going. Just keep going, friend.
Keep going. Yeah. Seasons. I think that one of the valuable takeaways for this Freestyle Friday is realizing which one. Put those in order. Put those in order of most importance. We've never done that. I don't think we've ever done that.
Seems very simple.
Yeah. Health, wealth, life, and love. And let's call life quality of life. Meaning you don't have to wake up to an alarm at 6 a.m. every day. You get to actually enjoy your morning. Whatever quality of life means to you, right? Yeah. Fun, unique experiences, travel, whatever it is. Okay, so quality of life, I'm going to define each. So life is quality of life, meaning self-explanatory. Health, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. Wealth, how you make your money. In other words, is what you do meaningful? It's a better way to put it. Is what you do meaningful? How much do you earn? Is that increasing or decreasing over time? And then where do you invest it? And then love, intimate relationship first, immediate family, friends, colleagues, clients, mentors, mentees, the people.
Before intimate relationship, I would say self-relationship.
Yeah.
Self before intimate.
Yeah. Self-love. Good call. Well, now we know which things I'm neglecting. But yeah, so for you, what's the order of importance? And for the listeners, what's your order of importance, most importantly?
Mine's probably, it's so hard.
It's wealth first, for sure.
Well, it might be quality of life.
Yeah, but your quality of life is completely predicated on whether or not you're winning in wealth.
Well, I know, but it's the fine line of if you've ever, are you turning your nose up at me?
No, I haven't. It's an itchy nose.
I'm totally kidding. When one of the reasons I was so miserable at my old job is because I traded in so many of my core values for wealth.
Yeah.
I traded in quality of life for wealth. I know. But
yeah, but you can't do, wealth was what, an 8 and quality of life was a 0?
Well, it's bad.
That's not good.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
That
I'm
doesn't
not
mean
there.
wealth's not first.
That's fair. I'm just saying you got to be very conscious of it.
I think it's wealth. And again, very, very self-righteous.
Tell me about
I
me.
think for you, yeah, it's probably wealth.
You do know me very well, so
Yeah.
I'm not offended.
We've spoke.
Yeah, we've spoken.
Wealth, life, health, and then probably love.
I don't know, man. That's a tough one. It's a tough one. I think I've had seasons where I thought it was supposed to be one and it wasn't really. But they're all so... No, I'm telling you, I think health is after love.
Yeah.
If I only
that makes
had an
sense,
hour
actually.
and it was I could spend it with Taryn to go to the gym, I'd spend it with Taryn.
Yeah, that's a great point. That actually did happen for quite some time.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it. Yeah.
One of the reasons I feel good, because even my quality of life right now, the fact that I finish at 6, 7 o'clock latest, and then I have 3 hours before bed is amazing for me. Because that's a guaranteed opportunity to connect with Taryn every night. Now, she's not home every night. She works late sometimes and she's whatever. But that gives me so much certainty. The way my day is set up is I get up at 6 and I have the time to go to the gym and do that stuff. And then from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m., I'm doing this. It just feels more regimented than it has in the past. And it doesn't feel detrimental to have the regiment.
Yeah.
Because we've tried that before. Oh, we'll do this. It didn't work. We were losing. Now I don't feel like that. I feel like we've really started to understand the things that mean the most and matter the most and the most important tasks and behaviors and habits and all that.
I crunched the numbers.
Oh, did you?
A while back. What's 1,000 times 1,000 times 1,000? Is that a billion?
You think I'm the guy, man?
I think you know.
It's whatever 3 9 zeros is.
1,000 times 1,000 times 1,000. It doesn't give me the commas. Hold on.
1, 1, 2,
Yeah, it's
3.
a billion. Okay. NLU listener, what is happening? I just wanted to jump in here and let you know if you want to get to the next level faster, we have a free virtual monthly meetup at the first Thursday of every month, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. You can connect with like-minded people and become a bigger part of this amazing global community. The link to register will be in the show notes. 1,000 times 1,000 times 1,000 is a billion. So if you want to be top 1,000, and I crunched the numbers on this because I genuinely, and again, please, we share ourselves on here. I'm just going to do it. So I do aspire to be 1 in 1,000 in health, wealth, and love. And I just realized mathematically, if you add life into that, no wonder why my quality of life is brutal, right? Look at if you add wealth in that, you're 1 in 8 billion. You're the only person to ever do it. Like if you are 1 in 1,000 for health, 1 in 1,000 for wealth, 1 in 1,000 for love, and 1 in 1,000 for life, that means 1,000 times 1,000 times 1,000 times 1,000. So you're 1 in, it says basically, I don't know, 1 e to the 12th. It's you're the only person on the planet. I always used to wonder when I was a kid, and this is very vulnerable for me to share. I used to wonder as a kid why there would be a wealthy person who wasn't in shape. Because in my head, I would say, well, you have the time and you have the money, because I have a mentor, for example, who's, multi-millionaire, and he has plenty of time. He easily could be in shape if he just put the effort in. And again, maybe easily is probably the wrong term, but he knows he could. And I've talked to him about it, okay? So he totally could. He just doesn't. And I think that, and he's admitted to me, he's like, yeah, I don't really feel like it. So, okay, fine. Like, to me, it's why wouldn't you just do that? It doesn't make any sense. But I also understand holistic is rare. And so now I'm starting to realize, I mean, dude, if you want to be 1 in 100, so let's do this. 100 times 100 times 100 times 100. And this is how the probability works. If you want to be 1 out of 100, top 1% in health, wealth, life, and love, you're 1 in 10 million. So you're 1 in 10 million if you can do. I'm sorry, 1 in 100 million.
Maths.
You're 1 in 100 million.
Okay.
And that's why it's so hard to be holistic. I mean, have you been I will share this, and again, this is vulnerable to say. I do think that certain things come fairly naturally to me. Being extremely good at health, wealth, life, and love simultaneously, I will admit, is unbelievably difficult.
Oh, it's the hardest thing in the world.
It's the hardest thing in the world. And as someone who typically feels like a lot of things, not all things, but a lot of things do come naturally and easy to me, this is honestly way harder than I thought.
I don't know if I had expectations. I don't know. I don't know if I had expectations of what it would actually... I didn't have accurate ones, so I was definitely off, and it's definitely harder than I thought, for sure.
Do you think it's possible to be top 1% in love?
Me physically? Me personally?
Yeah.
Yes. I think
Same.
I'm already there.
Okay, same. Do you think it's possible for you to be top 1% in health?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's very much in my control.
Yeah.
Genetics
Same.
are good. I'm consistent. I have the awareness.
Okay, agreed. And I know we're afraid of sounding arrogant here.
Always. Yeah, always.
Yeah, always. Do you think it's possible for you to be top 1% in wealth?
Yeah. I don't know what the number is. Like, what does that even mean? Net worth of... But I would say yes.
So that would be a net worth of... Hold on. The top 1% own large portions of major companies, investments. What is the top 1% of global wealth? What net worth puts you...
Alan loves Google. Alan's on a Google kick, so any opportunity to use Google, he's all in.
I love stats. Big fan of stats. Okay, you need a net worth of $30 million.
To be in the top 1%?
Mm-hmm.
Shit.
In the U.S., it may take you $5.81 million to be in the top 1%. Okay, so never mind. Nope, sorry. You need to be a net worth of $5.81 million to be in the top 1%. And the U.S. is the largest economy, so yeah. So you need about $6 million.
Yeah,
okay.
I would say yes.
And that's a net worth, by the way. And the way you calculate that, seriously, that does not mean you have that money in your bank account. It means all your assets minus all your debts plus your cash on hand. It's a whole thing. Don't worry about it. Okay. So you do believe that's possible, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So in order to do that, you essentially have to be 1 in a million.
I believe it is probable. I believe it will happen. I don't even believe it's possible. I believe it will happen.
Well, that's wild because that means you're basically saying you're going to be 1 in a million statistically. That's what it means. 1 over 100 times 1 over 100 times 1 over 100. Now, here's my real point of this. If you add 1 in 100 in quality of life, do you think it's possible for you to do all those and have a 1 in 100 quality of life?
I think eventually.
Yeah.
Like,
but all at once, no way.
No.
All at once, no way.
That's the thing about your mentor is he went so long without having quality of life that now that's his 100.
I know.
That's the hard thing. That's why you usually overpour the cup that has been the lowest for so long in order to get you where you're going.
Agreed. So you and I are kind of doing health, wealth, and love, and then hoping the quality of life comes later.
Well, I think the quality of I was able to go to Europe for 2 weeks. That was wild. I mean, that's quality of life.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's a privilege. Most people, not most, but many people don't get the opportunity to go do that.
Yeah.
And I didn't have to put in for vacation time or use time that I've accumulated. I just said, hey, let's make sure we get all the episodes done. I'll do what I do to make sure clients are taken care of. So that's a quality of life that I never necessarily knew I was going to be able to have anyway.
So if you are able to achieve that, and I do believe you can, I really do, that means you're 1 in 100 million, statistically.
That is wild.
And so hopefully for the listeners, the point of this is not just numbers and talking about us.
Math.
I hope everyone understands, and I really hope this lands in a new way. Life, love, health, and wealth is the hardest thing ever to be good at all 4 of them. I mean, honestly, my quality of life is the one that's the lowest, for sure. For sure.
Well, I think an important lesson is where this is important to state. If I wasn't a bodybuilder already and I was starting from I've never gone to the gym, I don't think I would say I could be in 1 in 100, never mind 1 in 1,000 or whatever.
Agreed.
I'm a bodybuilder.
This is something that's it's a long-term game. You kind of have to, and you almost have to delay, like that mentor, you have to delay one of them while you're working on the other one in a way. I think health, wealth, and love is totally doable. It is possible to be 1 in a million. There's 8 billion people on the planet. You can be 1 in a million. But the 1 in 100 million, that's a whole nother level. And just, I hope that this is validating for people, because I don't want anyone to sit there and think that any of this is easy. It's ridiculously difficult to do all 4 of these.
And you're also going to have a 1 in a million journey and a 1 in 100 million journey, where if you ever feel misunderstood, that's going to be one of the reasons why. I don't think that's bad anymore. I don't think and it's bad if it hurts you, if it creates conflict within you, if it creates emotion within you. Maybe it's not constructive. I like being misunderstood. Now more than ever, I do. I don't know. I enjoy it. I think I always kind of have, honestly. I've been weird in that. But I think the upside is you're probably already really good at one of the things.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
I'm a bodybuilder. I know what I'm doing, so I'm going to be good. I'll be good there.
You
right?
can put that in coast mode, kind of, while you work on the other ones.
More than the other ones, yeah.
Yep. So for you, the one that's
wealth.
The hardest is wealth. For me, the one that's hardest is quality of life.
Even though that was one I was good at in the past. It's
at the detriment of your relationships, though.
Well, I know. I wasn't good at juggling as effectively as I'm juggling today. Such an interesting.
I didn't realize what we signed up for. I'm not just saying that. I'm not trying to poor us. I really don't think I understood the math of how hard it was going to be top 1% in those 4 things. I mean, no wonder why we're one of the only holistic self-improvement podcasts. I mean, there's not a lot of podcasts.
Well, I think other people's definition of holistic is different than ours.
Agreed.
Holistic is more, whatever it is, living by the land or stuff like that, maybe.
I showed my tracker earlier to 2 new clients that are potential clients. I showed them your tracker and mine, and they were like, what? And it was a really good wake-up call for me of, that is kind of nuts, huh?
It's a lot.
I forget, because we do it every day. Our whole team tracks habits. All my clients track habits. Emilia tracks habits. So I forget that even just tracking habits puts you in the top 1%.
We did an episode, this was a while ago. It was something like 5 habits that will separate you from 99% of people. It's not that we're amazing. I do think we are amazing in our ways, in certain ways. I do. I'll give us that. I'm not from a place of ego, but I think we've earned that. We deserve that in some regard. It's not just that you're amazing if you're tracking 5 habits. It's also the fact that a lot of people aren't. And there's a big difference between somebody who is on purpose and intentional and somebody who isn't.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're spending 10 minutes a day tracking your 5 habits, you are freaking crushing it, even though it might not feel like it. Even though your life, it might feel worse. It might literally feel worse, but you have to believe that it's going to be worth it. I said this in our group coaching group. I sent an audio to the group, and because there was just so much love going on, and Amy had a connection call, and people were so vulnerable. And I said, I'm very, very proud of each and every one of you for looking at the things that are scary to look at now, but you'll be grateful for eventually. Or the things that are scary to look at now, but will be rewarding eventually, especially rewarding. And that's kind of growth in a nutshell. And that's why it's so hard. Because
it is hard.
You do the thing, and you do the thing, and you do the thing, and since you're growing, you're actually getting more resistance. Because you're growing. So the air is different or whatever. The mountain is more dangerous or whatever it is.
The client that I mentioned earlier, I think it was this episode that came back from Israel, she said, I'm failing so bad at that. I said, you're tracking. You did it 3 times in the last week while on the trip.
Right.
It feels like you're failing. You're actually doing better than you would if you weren't tracking. It just feels like you're failing because now you're tracking it.
Yeah.
You're still doing the habit more than you would have done before. And that's why I said, we got to can some of these. This is too much. Because if you keep feeling like a failure, you're not going to stick with it. And it's not sustainable.
So easy to lose sight of that, though.
I know.
Like you're doing 70% of... you're doing 70% more than you used to do.
Yep.
But it's still not 100% of what you want to do.
But all you're looking at is the 30% that you're quote-unquote failing, when in reality, you're actually winning. It just doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Freestyle Friday.
It was fire. Appreciate it. It was good.
Always my favorite. This is always my favorite episode of the week.
Do you have one final takeaway? Because I have one that I definitely want to do.
Go. Hit it.
I do think that all of us are naturally better at one of those four: quality of life, health, wealth, and love. The person I was talking about earlier, shout out to her. Quality of life. We don't need to track it. We had R&R on there. She's never missed, and she's never gonna miss. And she's like, yeah, you could see she egoed up a little. She's like, yeah, we don't need to track that. We need to track the other ones. So everyone out there listening or watching, what is the one health, wealth, love, or quality of life? What's the one that you're just so damn good at? Emilia and I are not good at all at the quality of life. We will just grind ourselves into a fine pulp. And that's okay, but we have to focus on something on the whiteboard called the nucleus, where we have one night a week for each of us, and then one day a week where we do something special together. Because otherwise we'll just work ourselves to the bone. And that's a superpower, and it comes with a weakness. So everyone figure out what's the weak one, and what's the one that you're really, really naturally focused on. Try to work on the weaker ones if you do want to be holistically fulfilled.
I would say my point would be tagging on that. What's the measurement for success in each of them? What does it look like for you to do? What does the wealth thing look like? What does the health thing look like? What are the results that you're trying to achieve? I know it can be scary to decide those, but even going back to the previous episode where we talked about identifying as something before it happens, before you become it, setting the goal is most likely going to be beneficial as long as it doesn't overwhelm you and scare the pants off of you. But that's a self-awareness thing. So just knowing the reason I know I want to be in the whatever it is, I don't care what percentage it is, just for the sake of the episode, it's just because I know the numbers in my head that I want. I want to have the best relationship ever. That's my goal. I don't ever want to come across a couple that has a better relationship than Tara and I do. Not
Same.
From a place of ego, but from a place of I feel like we're capable of it. That's mostly it. I feel like we're capable of doing it, and I want to lead by example, and the better my relationship is, the better lessons I'll have to share, and the more value I'll be able to add on the podcast and in life.
It's all good things, man.
Yeah.
Only you aspiring to that creates only good.
For sure.
As long as you're not an arrogant dick about it, it's
Well, the
only
money
gonna be
thing-
good things.
The money thing, I think, is where people can get scared because
Yeah.
because
But
you're
that's
making a lot of money doesn't mean you're doing it in the right way.
That's a good thing too. The team gets paid more. Their
course.
families have more. It's the person. It's the integrity. It's the character.
Money doesn't
underneath
make
it all.
you. It makes you more of who you are. If you're a dick, you're going to be a dick with money. If you're a kind person, hopefully you'll be a kind person with money. I don't think money changes you that much.
Agreed.
Maybe.
I think it
Well, yeah.
amplifies whatever you are.
Yeah. If you've ever seen somebody who gets changed by money, it's probably because they're very underdeveloped. They're probably young. You've ever seen somebody like Macaulay Culkin and a lot of these, Justin Bieber, they get a boatload of money. They're children. They do not have the mental capability of understanding what all of this means in the grand scheme of things. Imagine being 18 and the most famous person on the planet. My goodness gracious. I can only imagine what that is like. I would probably be terrible. Not anymore, though. All right, we're going to go because we are going to hammer out another episode for the NLU community.
Well, I don't think you have to worry about being the most famous person on the planet.
I don't know. It doesn't seem to be trending that way.
Yeah, you
I
and
like
I
to-
don't have to worry about that.
It's good because I like to leave the house in pajamas and stuff, and I don't want people camping outside my house.
I
What
don't
do you-
think we have to worry.
You guys aren't going to get any good pictures of me. All right. As always, subscribe. Excuse me, I can't speak. Subscribe if you haven't and you want to make sure you get to the next level every single day. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. We are grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we do not have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Please reach out.